Good morning and welcome to ENTP Life. So, I just wanted to show you one of the properties that I'm flipping. I'm up in Middletown, New York, and recently purchased a 3-bed, 2-bath, single family split level home. Construction started on the project yesterday, and what I'm going to be doing is showing you exactly the process of flipping a house from, I guess, this point to resale. What I'll do is I'll go back and give a little backstory on how I acquired a property, what financing methods I used, and what the overall plan and strategy is. And going forward, I'll be showing you exactly the renovations process to the exit point. So I hope you enjoy this series of videos on a real estate flip, and I hope that I'm able to answer any questions you may have. Okay, so the backstory to this deal is pretty interesting in that I guess might as well pull up this picture. In that this deal came to me through a realtor that I was working with. I actually was making an offer on another foreclosure property, and that property had my offer was rejected. And this was actually my first time making an offer through this listing agent, and she obviously wanted to know what I did and and if there was anything else that she can kind of bring my way. So she had this listing, which is 19 Allerton in Middletown, New York, and she had sent it to me, and it was over the budget that I was looking for. The property was listed at 160,000. And I said, you know what, this is not for me because I'm looking at properties in Middletown at or below $130,000. And in my eyes, it was a rejection. I just told her, I wasn't interested in this property because it was above the price that I was looking for. She actually took that as an opportunity to negotiate with the seller of the home. The seller of this house had moved to another state, pretty much leaving it vacant. It was in terrible shape. I wasn't sure if it was like a grandma's house situation or what. It wasn't even a foreclosure. The good thing is, I prefer not to buy foreclosed or vacant properties because if they're not winterized properly or been sitting around too long, people will break in, steal things, do more damage than anything. So this house was recently livable. And to my surprise, the listing agent came back and told me that the sellers actually accepted my statement of $130,000 as the max that I'll do in Middletown. So to my surprise, I got this deal. Now, the cool thing about it is that, like I said, it was livable. And I like livable properties because it's less money to rehab, less money altogether. Just it's an easier product to deal with when it hasn't been sitting around vacant for a few years. So this is a 4-bedroom, 2 full bath. No, it's actually a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. One of the baths is a half bath, but we are expanding that to a 2 full bath just to add a little bit more value to the house. Style of house is a split level ranch. I'm pretty sure that's a common style throughout the United States. And it's frame construction, gas heating, which is more desirable for buyers. This is a property that I'm going to be flipping. I'm not keeping it as a rental. Typically, buyers prefer gas heated homes. Gas is a lot cheaper than oil, also less maintenance, just a better product. So since this was livable, it's purely a cosmetic renovation. I usually estimate my cosmetic renovations to run between $20 a square foot to $30 a square foot to rehab that property. This is about a 2,000 square foot home. It's a little under 2,000. So my budget for this starting out is between 30 and 40,000. I think I'm going to come right below 40,000, but it's going to be finished beautifully. Just to give you a sense of the condition of the house, here you have a kitchen. and it's kind of cramped. So the concept is to open that up a bit and modernize it. The bathroom, completely outdated. This is also a gut and redo. Bedrooms. Now the bedrooms are in pretty good shape. There's not holes in the walls, typical wear and tear. The house had carpet and they had pets that peed on everything. So you could see like some of the foam here is adhered to the floor. But we're going to be refinishing these floors. Baseboard heaters are intact. They're not frozen out. Bedrooms, just more or less the same. This is one of the other rooms in the lower level. The rear of the house, and it has like this old cedar siding. It's not asbestos. But either way, I would be going right over this or taking it down and redoing it. Idea is to demo out this rear porch, sunroom, or whatever this is, just to open it up and leaving it as a deck. This is the half bathroom that I'm going to be expanding to a full bathroom. This is another view of that deck. This swimming pool is out of here. Really don't want that. And the seller actually wanted to keep it, so it worked out in my favor. So that's the property. So another thing that I want to really share with anybody who's watching, I'm pretty sure there's going to be very few people watching this first video, but what I want to share is a little more knowledge of the financial consideration for doing flips. A lot of the flipping shows, they really don't go over how to source the money, what the money looks like, the thinking behind the money, and that's something else that I want to focus on. We just walked through the property just to get a sense of what it looks like, but you need to understand how the financials of the deal is structured. Now, I'm going to pull up my lenders that I work with. They're a great group of guys based out of Hoboken, New Jersey, by the name of Asset-Based Lending. I came across these guys back in 2012 looking for financing on some projects that I was looking to do in Harlem. And we started our relationship from that point. Now, they lend directly on the asset. Credit issues really aren't too much of a concern. And their typical terms are going to be about a point a month in interest and 2 to 4 points upfront, depending on your skill level. They also have a new product now that is 0 points upfront and as low as 9% on a deal. But once again, that's with experience, relationship, and the value of the property. So that's something to definitely take in mind. These are the guys that I go to. I go to them on every deal, and I'm thoroughly satisfied with them. So how does it work with asset-based lending? So let's take a look at their fix and flip programs. Okay, so essentially here is more or less the terms of their loans. Okay, you could be a newbie with a minimum of a 600 credit score. They might work with you there. And the interest rates are going to be between 9 and 12. When I started with them, they got as high as 14%. They're a little more friendly now. They got a little more money, so they're doing better deals. 0 to 2 points up front. Now, what they will provide you with is 85% on the purchase price. So that property, 19 Allerton, we got that for $130,000. The down payment requirement for me to come out of pocket cash on buying the house has to be around 20%. So on 130, that is $26,000 that you're going to have to put into the deal yourself towards the purchase price. Okay, they will give you 100% of the value of your construction. All right, I'm estimating that it's going to be $40,000 in construction, and that means that if I take my $26,000 away from the top line price of $130,000, that means they're lending me $104,000 on the purchase and $40,000 for my rehab, as I'm estimating. Okay, now one thing to consider is that they're not going to lend you more than 65% of the projected value of that house once you've completed renovations. Okay, so if you want to take a look at things, you need to to get a sense of where you're going to come in on the project, you need to consider what the market value is. Now, at the time of doing this deal, I looked at a few properties that sold in the neighborhood, and you could do a quick search on Zillow. Just go to recently sold in the neighborhood, sort it by newest, and you'll get a sense of what similar properties are selling for. Okay, you got this 3-bedroom that just sold, 3 days ago, 3-bed, 4-bath. It's a pretty big house. That one sold for $294. You want to try to find something that's in line with what you're purchasing. Check this one out. This one sold $1,231, right? That's like 2 weeks ago. And it's a 4-bed, 1-bath home in the city of Middletown, 1,300 square feet, a little smaller than the split level house, and it sold for $224. So in looking around at houses, and you could also, take a look at what was the condition of the house when it sold, if Zillow still is holding on to pictures. I'm guessing this house is in pretty livable shape. Not sure if it's recently flipped or not. But if there's more photos, I highly recommend you look at what your competitors are doing as far as finishings are concerned. Okay, here's one that looks like a recent construction or a flip, completely remodeled, right? So they sold this one for $239, and new siding, everything is new, refinished floors, new deck, paint on the walls. Let's see what they did with their kitchen here. Still looking at the bedrooms. Bathrooms, Home Depot, nothing spectacular. And they didn't even showcase the kitchen yet, which is surprising to me. Older style, kitchen renovation. These horizontal tiles, I don't find them to be so sexy anymore. I feel like this is like, 10 years ago. They're using Home Depot cabinets, drop ceiling. This is, in my opinion, a good renovation because it's, stainless steel, stone tops, pretty nice, but a little dated. A single door fridge. Personally, I wouldn't finish a property this way. It's not as sexy. It doesn't look like anything out of Flip This House. It doesn't look like anything out of Pinterest. And to be honest, women are the ones buying houses. Women are the ones making the decisions. They come in, they like what they like. They've been scanning Pinterest. They've been scanning photos forever. And they know what is modern. They know what is nice. A woman will walk into here and be like, okay, this is cool and nice. It's a newly renovated house. Great. But if this one's going to go head to head with one of my properties, it's going to get killed for sure, because I try to finish them as nicely as possible, modern finishing, and it's all doable in the same price range as this crap. I consider it crap for almost the same amount of money. You're talking about maybe $1,000 or $1,500 difference in materials. You could go so much further with how you finish out a property, and I'll show you as we go through the construction of that. Bathroom, they didn't even renovate this bathroom. This was probably their bathroom that they found. They probably did the floors. Like I said, this is a complete renovation as they're stipulating, but not to my standard. But you could see that this one sold for $239, and you could start to use that as your comparables to get a sense of what the market commands when renovated if you're going to be flipping. Okay, so when I stepped to ABL and I came to them with this deal, I said, look, I'm getting it for $130. I anticipate, having a rental budget of $40,000. I'm going to be looking to borrow about $144,000, $145,000 from you. They said, all right, Carl, sounds good. Next step, let's send out the appraiser. Okay, appraiser comes in to validate more or less what I've stipulated. So when we look at the appraisal, in order for them to fund me that full 140 or 144, the appraisal had to come in at least that $220,000 price that I was stipulating. So let me go into my folder. Now, these are all the documents that you'll have to assemble when picking up a flip home and using a private lender. Uh, don't be intimidated by it. It actually helps to structure you well and organize yourself so that you succeed in this deal. Okay, so let's pull up this appraisal and see what it came back at. So this is from a third party appraiser hired by the bank to do an honest assessment of the property. Okay, so the appraiser, according to her comps and her assessment, appraised this property at $235,000, which is just $4,000 shy of that other property that just sold. And the way that they go about their appraisal is they find a few houses that compare in size and condition and the concept that you're going to be going for in your renovation. You're going to tell them, I'm going to be doing a new kitchen. I'm doing 2 full baths. I'm doing X amount of bedrooms, refinish hardwood floors, redoing the siding, painting the siding, whatever it is. They're going to take that into consideration when they're looking at your comparables because they're doing an after repair assessment. Okay, so they have 3 comps in here. One sold for $260, one for $234, one for $218. They take the average of those prices. They make a few adjustments according to things that you have versus them, or vice versa. So if you scroll through this, you'll get to see the properties that they used as the comps. It's first pictures of the property, the condition of it, which I've already shared with you, and the comps. So they're going to look for these 2-story frame homes that sold in the past 6 months in the same zone. So that's going to be similar school district, similar tax zone. Sometimes a city can have multiple school districts or it can have multiple tax zones. You want to compare apples with apples, oranges with oranges. That's another thing when you're doing your assessments. Don't try to find, you could go into a neighborhood and you're going to find that there's going to be, some average homes. Let's just say it's New York. Average home might be $200,000, right? And in that same neighborhood, there may be a country club with a private golf course, gated community where homes are selling for $600,000. You can't comp your non-country club home to a country club home. That's just, asinine. You're going to be making bad decisions. You got to compare the apples with the apples, oranges with the oranges, like properties. So that's what she did here. She found these, high ranches or these split level ranches, and she compared them out to that. She also included a few other comps besides the top 3, just to give you more texture and more ideas as to how many properties fit the bill. Okay? Similar land lot size. They're looking for as many similarities as possible. Okay? So that's the appraisal. Now, once the appraisal comes back as being in the realm of what we stipulated to the hard money lenders, they're going to say, all right, Carl, we like this deal and, we're going to move forward, and these are going to be the terms and conditions of this deal. So they'll send you out a term sheet, which is an overview of the property. It has a purchase price, the property's appraised value, 240 must be at least 235, which it did come in at. The loan amount that they decided to go with was 142 because I'm only asking for $38,000 in renovations. Okay, they would have gone up to like that 144 because let's just do the quick calculation. The max that they will lend on this deal is 65% of the after repair value. So the after repair value came in at 235,000. The 65% mark is 152. All right. So since I'm already putting down 20% of the purchase price, if I were to subtract that by 104, which is the remainder, they would have lent me up to $48,000 on this deal for the renovation. I didn't need that much, so I went with what I needed and what I estimated. Now, throughout the getting of the loan or securing the loan, they're going to ask you to get insurance, proof of insurance for your contractor. What is your contractor's bid? How does it break down? Are you going to take your money that's going to be put in escrow for construction to pay it out in 2 payments, 3 payments, 1 payment? How are you going to do it? I typically do anything under $50,000 in 2 draws. Um, I Another bit of advice is that you're going to want to have enough money, or at least have a contractor that has enough money to float the deal for the draws. Some contractors are going to say, all right, yeah, just pay me. I know the money's with the bank. I agree to this. I have my Home Depot credit. I have my own credit. I have cash flow to pay my guys. Just pay me at this interval for the work that's being done. Most contractors don't have the liquidity for that. So I do recommend that you have, you know, at least what you need for each draw in cash, because you're going to have to be able to provide your contractors with a little bit of money and the ability to get supply so that they're able to keep their team going and keep the project going. If not, you might run into a situation. So on a flip like this, the real cash requirement is going to be about $50,000. Okay, you're going to need your 20% for the purchase price. You're going to need your money to float your crew. Um, it could be a combination of cash and credit, whatever it is that you have, but I would say $50,000. Now, some people just getting into flipping might say, "Oh man, wow, bummer! I can't do this deal because I don't have 50K." If you don't have $50,000, you could find it. You know, go to your friends and family, go to your local bank, reach out to other investors. You know, tap your 401k, wherever you have the resource. If you have $0, zero, and you have the gift of gab and the ability to project confidence and strength, you'll be able to raise the money. People invest in real estate because they can see it, they can touch it, they believe it, they understand it. If you show them the deal, you show them the comps, you show them that you have the hard money lenders willing to lend to you, you show them that with $50,000, you're going to turn a $40,000 profit and that you're going to split the profits with them. People, if you could give someone a 50% return on investment in 6 months, they'll give you money. You just need to be able to tell that story, and they need to be able to believe in you. If you don't have that confidence and you don't have the money, then you're a fish out of water. If you have the money and you have a little bit of a brain in your head, you can do this on your own. All right? So that's a little bit of the math behind the deal. Now, in the term sheet, let me just show you something else. They're going to tell you exactly what you need to do in order to make this deal work. Now, if you see, they're giving me a 10.5% interest rate. This is what my payment's going to be. These are my origination fees, 2.5%, and all the other fees associated with the processing. All right. Now, another thing is they're going to tell you exactly what you need to provide for this deal in order for it to close. This is your checklist, right? This is what you're working off of. So it's all of the specs, all of the documents, everything that they need on you to do that. And that's more or less it. Now, as you can see, I signed off on this 10/25. I think I closed on this property the first week of January. We're now 2 weeks in and halfway through the job. I believe that this flip will be completed by the last week of January and ready to be listed on the market in February. So from the concept of I got an accepted offer to now this property being available for sale is going to be about 3 months in total. That's to get my debt, to close on the property, complete renovations, get the property sold. All right. Now, if you guys have any questions on the financial consideration of a deal, please don't hesitate to leave that in the comments below. I'm always willing to entertain your questions. I love teaching. I love sharing how I make my money. I love sharing how you can make some more money. I think, if I find people who are making money, then eventually these are people who can do deals with me. If I'm doing a $5 million project and I need to tap, $1 million to complete that deal, I need people who believe in me as well and who have some money. I can't go to friends and family because some of them don't even have $5,000 to give. Sometimes you need to create your network of investors and people who have money to be able to invest with you. So I'm always willing to teach, give back, so that I eventually have somebody that will want to be a partner in a deal with me in the future, or somebody who has a terrific mind, work ethic. Maybe they're a contractor and they just need some guidance, and they're like, hey, you know what, Carl, I need some guidance. Work with me, and we'll do this flip together. So I put out those lines into the world in hopes that I catch a fish. So if you have any questions on the financing, leave it in the comments below. I'll definitely reach out. Another thing that I want to tell you guys is that if you, a thing that you need to consider is that beyond the rough numbers that I've given you, there's going to be additional fees. There's going to be your attorney fees. You're going to have to pay a little bit of money to get your insurance. There's going to be your title fees. Expect to pay like an additional, I don't know, anywhere from like 4 to as much as 8% in additional fees on the buy side. That might be your loan origination fees, a bunch of fees. There's going to be fees at the wazoo. It all depends on your zone. So, add that into your calculations. So if we're looking at this particular deal, let's pull up that calculator again. Purchase price is $130,000, right? On that purchase price, I'm going to add 8% for fees. So that takes us up to $140 plus $38,000 in, and I'm just using, hundreds of dollars, and I'll just expand that in my mind. But another $38,000 for renovations. So all in, you're looking at about $170, $180. The after repair value is $235, right? So you're talking about a gross profit of $56,000 on what would be a starting point of around $50,000 cash. Now that seems like a huge return, like 100% cash on cash. That's not going to happen, because once you sell it, you're going to have your carrying costs for your hard money loan. That's going to eat a little bit of your money. There's going to be your gas bills, your electrical bills. They're going to be small, but that's going to eat a little bit of money. Maybe maintaining your lawn, that's going to eat a little bit of your money. And then there's the broker's fee on the sales side, which is going to be about another 5% of the total deal price. So when you're all said and done, you got your exit fees and everything else, I'd say that's like another maybe 8%. So you're looking at like another $15,000 or $18,000 that you're going to give up. So I'll just minus like $17K from that. So maybe all in all, I'll be seeing around a $35,000 to $40,000 profit on this deal. So you're looking at around like a 70% cash on cash return on investment if you are going the hard money route. If you're going because you're leveraged, you're going to expand on your money a bit. If you were to do this deal all cash, you're looking at about a 20% cash on cash return. This is why I personally like to be leveraged, because I get bigger returns that are sexier numbers that you're able to pitch to investors. And you could say, look, you invest in me, I hit at least 60%, 70% cash on cash every 5 to 6 months on a flip project. If I'm doing 20 of these a year, and I'm managing $300,000 to do that 20, or $500,000 to do that 20, and I'm doing 60% cash on cash every 6 months, that's 120% a year. I'm making like 600 grand a year on my money. If I were to take the same $500,000 and do all cash deals, I'd only be seeing about 20% twice, so 40%. I'd be seeing about $240,000 a year on that same $500,000 of cash. Now, who do you want to be? The guy making 600K or the guy making 240? I know you guys are thinking, I'll be happy with 240, but who do you want to be? So I prefer to keep myself fully leveraged as possible, because I'm going to actually make more money in the long run. Yeah, you lose money in fees. Yeah, you lose money in carrying cost, but who cares? the overall return on your investment is going to be a lot larger. It all depends on your risk tolerance. If you don't like having that monthly bill and you don't want to be caught in a bind where you have too many properties sitting and your cash reserve is shrinking every single month because properties aren't selling. If you don't want to be that guy, you don't have to be. I prefer to be that guy. I don't mind it. I don't mind that stress. If I need to raise a little more money to, you know, to provide that cash, I will. If I need to refinance a property to do it, I will. I'll do whatever I can to meet my obligations. Okay, I'm not gonna let my property that's sitting around with 50K or 100K of equity get lost because I can't come up with a $2,000 payment. Not happening. So that gives you a sense of what happens cash wise. Now, to round this out, we're going to talk a little bit about where we are with the renovations of this property so that you can get a better sense of uh, what the workflow is like and where we're at. Okay. So we're going to be doing a walkthrough of this first day of visiting the job site. This is actually day number 2 of construction. So we're just deep into the demo before we start our rough work. So just to give you an overview of this property again, this is a 4-bed, 2-bath, frame construction, split level home in Middletown, New York. Sits on a nice plot of land. Overall condition of the house is pretty good. I'm not changing out the roof. The roof could use some new shingles, but it's not in terrible shape. That's something that I might reserve as a negotiation point on the sell side. If somebody was like really on the fence about buying the property, I might say, hey, look, give me my full ask and I'll include, a new roof for you. No, no problem. Obviously, it's priced in. So if I could get away with not repairing the roof, I won't. Like I said, I think it's in good shape. There was no evidence of leaking. It needs to be cleaned up a bit. But I am going to wrap on some new siding and new shutters, freshen up the look outside so that people get this I'm getting a new home feeling inside and out. Now on the inside, right here we have our living space. This is a living room, dining room, kitchen combo. I've opened it up to have an open floor plan, and the kitchen is going to wrap around like a peninsula, and it's going to be really nice. Adding in some recessed lights, gutting out this bathroom. As you can see, the bathroom's completely gutted out. Um, Everything is staying in place. That way, I don't have to really deal with getting a plumber in to get permits or anything like that. Some towns are very friendly with remodeling. That if you're just doing light remodeling, you're not really changing the location of things, um, and you're not doing any major electrical plumbing. It's just new outlets, basic changing the light fixtures, stuff like that. You don't have to get permits involved. And some towns, if you change a toilet bowl, you have to get a permit. So this is not one of them. Here's a look at the bedrooms. Now the bedrooms are in decent shape. Just repainting those walls, repainting the moldings, refinishing the floors, matching the doors, making sure it looks nice. Not much happening in the bedrooms. The fact that the walls are in good shape is always a plus. Don't have to tear those out and redo drywall. And that's pretty much where we're at now. Just getting into the demo, laying out the kitchen. I already pulled out my measurements. I go to shout outs to Star Kitchen. I work with Star Kitchen out of Elmont, New York. They've been taking care of me for years now. So I'll be taking this final floor plan to Donna, who's going to be whipping up my rendering of how we're going to do this kitchen. And I'll show you a little bit about that in the next video. And that's more or less it.